Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I'm your host, Jack Gibarelli, with my co-host, Blockchain John, here on the 507th episode, Sunday night, April 16th, 2023. Welcome to our, I guess you could call it, first sponsor? Blockchain Expo. We're going to be talking about Blockchain Expo a little bit here in the beginning, but hey, John, how's it going?
Good, good. Happy to be back. Feels like I've been gone for a long time, even though I was here on Wednesday. I feel like I didn't fully reset until like this weekend. So it feels like I'm finally back now. My head's here. I got it. We're good to
Yeah,
go.
you need a
And
vacation from your vacation?
yes, yes. And now we got accepted to be partners more or less with the Blockchain Expo. So that's pretty cool.
I don't know about. Yeah, I guess it kind of is. Well, when we're media people, so of course they're letting us get into a slightly higher tier, provided we tell you guys about the Blockchain Expo, which we're perfectly happy to do because we love it. It's really fun going last time, a 2 day event we went to in October, and they're upping it this year, bringing it a little bit earlier in spring, in the 17th and 18th of May in 2023. So basically a month from today. It'll be tomorrow, but basically a month from today. And so it's going to be in Santa Clara Convention Center. If you guys want to come check it out, you can do it for free. You don't even have to have a
For
press pass. You
free,
can
baby, for
check it
free.
out. All the stuff that's on the floor during the 2 day event is completely free to anybody who wants to go. There are, of course, paid versions, which are very expensive. I think the minimum one is 750, and the maximum one's like 2,500. But the more you pay, the more you get. There's lots of backstage stuff you get to see if you do decide to pay, and then there's also dinners and meeting with high-level exec people if you want to do that too. But honestly, we got to see a lot of really cool, what's it? Not lectures, but expose talks, and
There's a lot going on here at this expo. You got IoT, AI, cybersecurity and cloud. You got the 5G, edge computing and digital transformation, and blockchain. All of this conventions, it's like five, six conventions all mashed into
yep,
one
rolled into
big
one. It's a
event.
gargantuan place, so there's plenty of stuff to walk around and see. Honestly, it takes probably a good five to 7 minutes to walk from one end to the other, and there's a
And if you can't
ton
make it,
of.
if you guys can't make it, you guys can definitely check us out on YouTube. I'll be uploading that, or most likely I'm gonna be streaming everything that I do there from the moment I get there until the moment I leave. I'll be streaming the whole thing. So stand by for that. I'll
Yeah,
try to
we're gonna be
figure out
doing
how many.
yeah, talking to a lot of people and taking a lot of pictures, a lot of videos. So you'll be seeing
Yes.
everything we do
Follow on
while we're
Twitter,
there.
follow on Twitch,
Yeah.
and Discord, and YouTube.
Yep. So let's get on to the news. This week
All right.
in crypto Twitter.
SEC commissions continue to condemn SEC. All right, let's see what's going on here. Bitcoin recrossed the $30,000 support threshold this week and hit a 10-month high. Meanwhile, Ethereum's I thought it was Capella. Did they change the name? Is Capella
It's just two
upgrade?
names Christian into one. That's the reason they call it that.
Oh, okay. Upgrade finally went live, allowing validators to unlock their staked ETH, and the rewards accrued so far are and freeing up a staggering $34 billion in ETH in the process. The coin's price accordingly hit an 11-month high. These successes went largely unremarked in the thick of crypto Twitter terrain, a terrain densely packed with an industry announcements and lengthy broadsides. The week started with a couple of personnel changes. Animoca Japan, a subsidiary of Animoca, the developers of publisher and popular blockchain game The Sandbox, appointed a new CEO on Monday. The company's press release called the new chief Daisuke Iwasi a Web3 native with a proven record both as an entrepreneur and a corporate leader. And there's a tweet there with his nice profile picture. In a parallel notice, Coinbase's former head of exchange, Vishal Gupta, announced he was stepping down. What? Really? I want
Well,
to read this tweet here. Well, I guess it's a thread, but we'll just read the first one. After an amazing 2.5 years at Coinbase, I've decided it's time for me to move on. As head of an exchange/market at Coinbase, I am proud of the accomplishments we achieved together. Yeah, he's done a lot. All right, crypto and DeFi enthusiast at NayGMY did a sleuthing on both the blockchain and Google and wrote a long and plausible thread alleging that something is definitely up with crypto markets maker DWF Labs. And here's a tweet from Nay, number 11. It's a thread. Number 11 is now, who is the official face of DWF? Andrei Grashev. He is saying DWF is a TradeFi market maker since 2016, and they made hundreds of millions doing that, lol. He's been publicly accused of running various crypto scams since 2018. They include ICOs that raised money and never launched. Number 12, portfolio management, which led to 100% losses, and his ties to OneCoin, a $4 billion crypto Ponzi. He was photoed speaking at their Moscow meetups, and as CEO of Huobi Russia at the time, hoped to exclusively list it on Huobi. Sounds like insider trading to me.
Mm.
Bitcoin Maxi Pete Rizzo marked the 10th anniversary of an important event in Maxi hodling history. What is that? Here's a tweet from Rizzo. Exactly 10 years ago, investors Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss buys 100,000 Bitcoins at under $100. They are still hodling today. Yes. I don't know about hodling. That's funny because just as a matter of fact, on Friday when I was at Hacker Dojo, side story, one of the guys that actually was using the Gemini exchange said that he received an email that the Winklevoss twins were using his funds for future projects. They were investing into other stuff with his funds.
I would
I
take
was
his
like,
funds out if I were him then. Not your keys,
yeah, I
not
was
your
like,
crypto, right?
yeah, I was like, dude, I've never heard that before, but it's interesting that they would send that to you. Are you
Yeah.
sure it was from them or from someone
Yeah,
else?
exactly.
Yeah.
Check your sources.
Crypto researchers Molly White provided followers with an extremely long and often hilarious Twitter rant on Tuesday. Her provocation, question mark, Andrew Horowitz's latest annual State of the Crypto Propaganda Report. Here's a tweet from Molly White. This slide is a effing masterpiece. Somehow YouTube consumes 122% of the electricity as global data centers. Does YouTube not use data centers? Question mark. No source with its energy estimates or explanation of how it's calculated. Also claim YouTube consumes 187% to 244% elect as Bitcoin.
But I mean, YouTube is a gargantuan platform that
Mm-hmm.
is also providing the majority of all videos in the world, besides maybe China.
Justin Sun replied to a tweet report of his arrest in Hong Kong with one numeral. Readers who have been following this weekend's roundup will probably recognize this as a reference to Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao's Twitter code for Ignore FUD, which has now been widely renamed by the crypto Twitter community. And here's that tweet. Justin Sun arrested in Hong Kong. Source at location. Authorities holding Sun at Mashinawana station. And he just responds number 4.
Yeah, ignore the FUD.
The Bruce Lee estate launches an Ethereum NFT to commemorate the late legendary martial artist and actor. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Make sure you mute the audio there.
Yeah.
The 15-second video.
Uh,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's kind of cool. Turning him into anime.
House of Lee,
Yeah.
April 12th, 2023. Cool. All right, continuing on. On Thursday, Christian Smith, the CEO of Pro Crypto Lobbying Group, the Blockchain Association, tweeted an SOS from Costa Rica. Just hours prior, the group had filed an amicus brief
Amicus.
in United States District Court in Austin, opposing the U.S. Treasury Department's sanctions against crypto privacy mixer Tornado Cash. Software company CEO Robert Salvador saw a possible connection between the two events. She later tweeted that she was just missing an entry stamp in her passport.
Ooh, so it wasn't that bad.
IT consultancy founder and Ethereum fan Edmund Edgar tweeted a picture from a presentation by Amazon Web Services, one of 10 cloud hosting providers who together control the majority, 57% of Ethereum nodes.
Wow.
This fact is used for fuel in the argument that Ethereum isn't really as decentralized as it claims.
Exactly.
Yes, I did see that. It was actually a lot higher before, but I think it was like 65%.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually between between Amazon and Google, I believe it's like 80%.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that AWS and Google themselves own this, but that those places is where these nodes are located.
Yep, good point. All right. On Wednesday, MasterCard announced its MasterCard Artist Accelerator program. There is a bug on my screen. Uh,
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Acceler- Accelerate Mastercard Artist Accelerator program with a free Polygon-based NFT, giving musicians slash NFT fans various perks while providing musicians participating in the program with the tools and guidance needed to release their own NFTs. That's cool. Whoops. Clicked on the link and it took me to Mastercard.
Yeah.
OpenAI developer Logan Kilpatrick. Is it Kilpatrick?
Yeah, that's right.
Kilpatrick assured everyone that work has not commenced on GPT-5. It appears his team has heeded the warning by tech luminaries Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak. And it's not just them. There have been a couple of alarming cases around the things GPT-4 is already capable of, including exploiting smart contracts, rudimentary planning its own escape, and falsely accusing people of committing sexual assault, hallucinating a Washington Post article as a citation to substantiate the claim. That's interesting that we're talking about that because my buddy right now is watching. Was it like on 2020? He's watching a whole series, not a series, a whole um, uh, documentary on AI. All the stuff that's coming out now. There's a new thing going on right now with that, which it's crazy, dude. This stuff is just nonstop. Every 24 hours there's something new with
The thing
AI.
that's weird to me is that, like, talking about Elon Musk without talking about crypto, we talk about GPT as if it had something to do with crypto.
True, true. Finally, well, actually, I guess the way they plugged that in was exploiting smart contracts.
Exploiting it, right?
Finally, on Friday, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce lambasted her own agency and shared her strongly worded dissent against regulators' plan to change its definition of exchange in order to bring crypto exchanges under its jurisdiction. Peirce argued the move undermines First Amendment protections. She also used the SEC's own history to point out that the agency was more flexible and open to innovation 30 years ago.
Exactly.
She called the SEC that expanded the definition of exchange, quote unquote, to create regulations, ATS, quote, a relic of bygone times. Chairman Gary Gensler, aka the Sheriff of Cryptoville, must have felt that one over in his office.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this later. It's one of the articles that we're
Yep.
covering. So moving on with This Week in Coins. This Week in Coins, also by Tim Huckey. Thank you, Tim Huckey, for writing these articles. You did a great job. Bitcoin recovers 30,000 US dollars as Ethereum Chapella goes live. We just talked about this to some degree, but we're going to get a little bit more in depth. While the Bitcoin and Ethereum price rallies over the last 7 days are numerically speaking not particularly notable, given their long histories, sometimes explosive price movement, there was a definite sense that it was a significant week for both. Bitcoin rose 7.5% to its current price of roughly 30,000, meaning that it finally crossed the 30,000 point support barrier, which of course pushed MicroStrategy into the black again. For the first time in months, it managed to hold on to its gains coming into the weekend. I believe it's still up there. Let me pull it up real quick just to see if it's still up there, because right now it would be trade. Yeah, right. It just broke below 30,000. Trading in Asia is happening right now here because it's late on the left coast of the United States. So let me get back to the coins here. The key driver for Bitcoin's surge in value was the release of the latest U.S. inflation numbers by Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Consumer Price Index for the month of March revealed that inflation was lower than forecasts had anticipated. The latest reading is a strong indicator that the Fed could back down from its policy of raising interest rates, which it pursued throughout 2022, making it more expensive to borrow money and ultimately turning investors away from risk on assets like crypto and stocks. It's also a huge week for Bitcoin's closest rival, Ethereum, which blew up 10% to just over 2,000 US dollars. On Friday, the coin briefly broke past 2,100 for the first time in 11 months. Yeah, we had a lot of bad news in 2022. Much of the Ethereum hype centered on the launch of a long-anticipated Chapella upgrade, which went live on Wednesday. Chapella jointly refers to two upgrades, the Shanghai and Capella, thus Chapella, which have now unlocked withdrawals of ETH staked on the network as execution layer and the consensus layer, respectively, freeing up 34 billion in staked ETH. The execution layer executes and records Ethereum's transactions in real time, while the consensus layer validates those transactions. Every validator has staked 32 ETH to activate their software, and it's rewarded for ETH for confirming transactions. The biggest rally among the top 30 cryptocurrencies was enjoyed by Solana. Sol blew up 16%, currently trades for $23.91, or at least last at this time of writing. Much of Sol's performance this week was thanks to the release of Saga, an Android phone powered by Solana blockchain. That's the entire phone, not just some app on it, on April 13th. The device enables users to seamlessly access Solana's huge ecosystem of apps and projects. Other notable rallies this week include Cardano, which rose nearly 12% to 43 cents. OKB added 10% and trades at about 45 and a third. Aptos surged 8.5 to 12.41, and Near Protocol went up about 9% to 217. There were no casualties among the top 100 cryptocurrencies by market capitalizations this week. Nothing fell down, which has been good. There's been a lot of in between and up. And if we scroll, I'm just scrolling CoinGecko real quick to show it. And yeah, there's nothing really. Pax Gold went down. Caspa's been going down weirdly. I don't know why, but I think it's because a lot of people are getting into mining it. So, on to the Bitboy continued drama.
Yes. YouTuber Bitboy ordered to appear in court to face lawyers' harassment claims. All right, let's read this little first paragraph here. Crypto influencer Ben Bitboy Armstrong has been ordered to appear before a Miami court next week to iron out allegations of harassment directed at class action attorney Adam
Moskowitz. Yeah.
And his law firm. Armstrong was named as a defendant in the class action lawsuit last month, co-led by Moskowitz and attorney David Boyes. The lawsuit alleges multiple online influencers solicited the sale of unregistered securities and promoting the defunct cryptocurrency exchange FTX and seeks over $1 billion in damages. Ouch!
So yeah, he
damn.
Unfortunately, Bitboy has been lambasting this lawyer and his law firm with multiple emails, Twitter rants, and phone calls, calling him out, not just in these particular situations, but also on his channel, and trying to, in a sense, get his followers to do the same. And it's I don't know, it's a tough on crime kind of attitude of like, where we're just gonna beat these people up verbally as much as we possibly can, except that doesn't actually do anything. I'd say to a lawyer, although the lawyer himself has had death threats levied at him, not just through the harsh words that Armstrong has brought in his tweets, but by the followers, lots and lots and lots. I think he said he has, at the point I read last Sunday, he had like 12 or 13 death threats from various anonymous persons. And now the judge is basically kind of doing the same thing he did to Trump, which is, hey, stop this. You can't just, say whatever you want and threaten to kill the person who's suing you. You may not be happy about it, and no one loves being sued, but threatening the person with death is not going to make your case better.
Yeah, here's a tweet down little further down from Ben Armstrong. He says, so let me get this straight. Adam Moskowitz frivolously attaches me falsely as a paid promoter of FTX, a site where people lot everything. Many lost life savings, many on the brink of suicide. And this fragile pussy claims he is scared. He's the one scared and at risk because I call him names.
He did more than just call him names. But yeah, and it is unfortunately the problem with doing the things that he's doing towards this lawyer. It's like, okay, you can be mad, and you can be vile. You can be vile, not violent, but vile. But you can't threaten death. You can't. And maybe Ben himself has not threatened death. Maybe it's just his followers that have done it.
Followers, yeah.
And I'm guessing they've done it anonymously as well. But at the same time, it's like, this won't help your case. You can be angry, but it's not going to help your case at all. You have to do this out in court. You're not going to get this guy to stop. He's only filing a class action lawsuit. The lawyer himself isn't directly involved. The lawyer is just filing a class action lawsuit for his client. So it's stupid. Not to say that Bitboy doesn't on a regular basis do kind of stupid stuff, but that he knows that when he does this, he gets views. So he's doing it for the clout. He's doing it for the views. He's doing it because it will get people watching his content, because drama is content.
And remember, it's a class action lawsuit against a lot of YouTube influencers.
Yeah.
It's not only just I was gonna say Brian Armstrong, Ben Armstrong. It's also YouTuber stars like Graham Stephan, Kevin. Was it
Meet Kevin? Yeah, Meet Kevin is his YouTube channel.
Jaspreet Singh, which I like Jaspreet.
Yeah, but he did shill FTX, so.
He did. And that's pretty much what they're directed towards on all these. Andre
Zeke, yeah, he's the magic guy.
Oh, okay. Brian Jung, Jeremy Lefebvre,
yeah,
and Tom Nash.
Yeah.
Creators with millions of followers combined.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, all of them are either close to 1 million or more than 1 million subs to their YouTube channels, and Bitboy is more than 1 million by far. So
we're almost there.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. But he's
next news.
Yeah, let's just move on to this cool stuff, which I find really fascinating, and it's honestly one of the more interesting things I expect to come in the very near future. Danny Trejo, Mina Savari join Gala's Web3 TV series RZR. Dystopian sci-fi series RZR, currently in post-production, will premiere exclusively on Gala film platform this July. So they're turning a Web3 platform into something like HBO or Netflix.
Okay, so my question is right away, where's Gala Films at? Can I just go to galafilms.com or what? Galafilms.com?
I believe so.
Gala Films.
Let's see here.
Oops, I wrote that totally wrong. I put Gala Files. Films. Let's look it up.
Yeah, film.gala.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so it took a second to load, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of movie stuff going on here, or TV show stuff going on. It's a whole series that, I don't know if it's a 6-part or an 8-part series, but it's already filmed. All the, the filming part's done. They're just doing post-production for all the technology, including. So I'm really interested in this, because it's like, well, why can't Web3 do this? Now, one of the things, I'm not going to play the whole video, but there's a video close down at the very bottom of this article where you actually see David Bianchi interviewed, and he said they actually did a table read for the internet.
Oh, bro, that's a lot of money, man. I don't know.
Yeah, so they actually did a real table read of an entire episode for the internet. They're trying to be as open as possible and presenting all this stuff to the DAOs and to the people involved in this project. So if you're involved in the project, in a sense, you become a sponsor or a participant, like you go with a DAO. And so it's just kind of a neat concept in general to say that this isn't totally involved in this way, and it gets people more involved. It's like, you can get Fox, not Fox News, but Fox, the 20th Century Fox, and get things like The Simpsons, but you don't have any say in what The Simpsons produce their content as. Now, maybe you could win something and then maybe they bring you on the show or include your likeness on it, but for the most part, you have no input. The internet and memes do have some input, but it's not your individual input. Now, if you're a famous person, sure, but that has to do with money. And the whole thing with this Web3 concept is, if you are even just a small-time contributor, you're still part of the fold, and you get to contribute.
That's what it looks like. It looks like you can contribute as little as $250, if I'm not mistaken, for an entry level.
Yeah.
And you get full access of the series,
I
believe.
Right.
And of course, there's higher tiers that unlocks a little more
functionality. Right.
Stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But
which that's kind of cool, dude. That should be the way things should be going. There should be a lot more independent film producers.
And of course, they're also saying you don't have to own the NFT in order to view the shows. So you don't actually have to buy in to actually watch, which is true for most people anyways. If you're going to watch a show for most part, most places, with the exception of like, and you're getting your stuff OTA, then you're not going to pay anything. But if you're going to watch it on HBO, you're going to have to pay the HBO for access to it, or Netflix for access to it, or their platform. So it's not that weird to have a buy-in for access to the platform, but to actually have contributive input to the actual show is freaking awesome. Just like a DAO. Like I said, if you own part of a coin through a DAO, you have participatory access. So I'm also interested in just seeing how this turns out. Their little preview, which I did watch earlier, it just shows Danny Trejo for like 5 seconds. It doesn't really give you any idea of what the show's about. But you really need to get involved in Gala Games if you want, or Gala Films in particular, if you want to know more. And I think this is awesome. We'll see how great the content is once it debuts. But I mean, hey, you can already see a table read, so you actually know what one of the episodes is about if you've seen that.
That's so funny. I just watched a 20-second clip of that, and there's I have no clue other than I just seen Danny's face on there for like 3 seconds. I'm like, okay, what was this about?
Right.
I have no clue.
Well, seems to be a lot of relatively famous people involved. David Bianchi, Richard Cabral, Mimi Davila, Christopher Marquette are all involved. So it's kind of neat.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
So moving on to political news.
Okay, fine. SEC's Hester Peirce says Gensler's plan to target DeFi undermines First Amendment.
Which we mentioned earlier.
Right. Yes. First paragraph says, U.S. Securities and Exchange Chairman Gary Gensler has made it clear that he's getting tough on crypto, though he says. And today, the American regulators revealed he's not leaving out the industry's most complex space, DeFi. In a Friday announcement, the SEC said in a press release that it would revisit plans to change the definition of what is considered an exchange. This would include DeFi, or decentralized finance protocols, like decentralized exchanges. Yes. Well, you know what? I think my 2 Satoshis are, we do need some clarity on what DeFi is when it comes to, I guess, government regulations, because they always have to stick their fingers in everything. Because I think in the eyes right now, there's not, and there's absolutely nothing. There's no regulation on DeFi. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're correct, but there's no way for the United States to regulate DeFi because it's decentralized. It can be done anywhere. How do you regulate some you can't even put your finger on? You can regulate Unify, you can regulate Uniswap because or SushiSwap because they're entities, but you cannot regulate their sites because they're not hosted anywhere. So if you want to make trades, I mean, I guess you could say like there's a decentralized platform or DeFi platform. I think they mentioned it further down in the article. Not Curve. What's it called? Oh, it's Orca, the largest DEX on Solana blockchain by volume, last month stopped American users from using its platform, warning would-be traders from using a VPN rather. So they're kind of saying, hey, we are a pretty big DEX, and if you want to trade, you can't be an American person. But the fact of the matter is, Americans know full well they have VPNs, and how else are you going to stop a VPN user? You can try to prove that a person used a VPN to access the thing, but then it's just the company doing it. Unless the SEC themselves says all Americans are banned from doing DEX trades on, DeFi, and that if you use a VPN, you'll be, thrown in jail, then people might try to either hide their activity better or not do it. But the problem and the point that Hester's making here is that, and she said it, I think she said it earlier in the article, but basically is you're curtailing free speech by basically saying, oh, here we go. It says, Peirce elaborated, because the release makes everybody involved in the relevant blockchain ecosystem part of a group, it creates significant ambiguity around what speech requires government pre-approval, which will unavoidably chill constitutionally protected speech. You're basically saying, sorry, you can't do that because the government says you can't do that because, and it's like, but it's freedom of speech. You're allowed to do this under freedom of speech. And the government's like, well, we don't like you doing that. Too bad. I'm sure the government doesn't like it. Joe Biden doesn't like being called, let's go Brandon, but we're allowed to criticize him.
in regards to the whole DeFi thing, there are obviously developers and key holders to those, right? And the reason I say that because there's been many times in these past years where a lot of these protocols, these DeFi protocols, get hacked for one thing or another, right? And there's a lot of
Yeah.
funds being siphoned off
Oh
off,
yeah.
off their platform.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just kind of they shut down the platform. They freeze all assets,
Mm-hmm.
and so they have access to these keys that can stop traffic from entering or exiting their platform.
Yep.
So there are key holders, just because it's not centralized, there are key holders to these platforms. So is DeFi really DeFi?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about a DEX, it is. Um, in that case, with a truly decentralized exchange, then I guess the exchange could stop updating, but they can't technically stop you from using the platform because they made it so that exchanges can be happening regardless of what they say to do. Atomic Dex is that way. They're like, hey, it's up to you guys. It's you can exchange however you like. We can't stop you. The only thing we can do
I,
is stop updating.
I think this is just one of those other things that Uncle Gary, the barking chihuahua, is just nipping at things and is not going to do anything.
Well, I think the primary thing they said earlier was, I'm trying to remember the exact quote. It was like, are you only trying to hold the feet of all crypto producers to the fire because you're trying to protect legacy, um, finance, and that it's like the whole point of crypto is to buck uh, legacy finance. I mean, it's literally its existence is an FU to legacy finance. So
Mhm.
if you're basically just trying to pull the new, finance technique to be curtailed with the old platform, then what's the point of innovation? Yeah, here it is.
Let's
It's
hit
at
the
the very
last
bottom. He
one
said
here.
Hester continues. Friday meeting announcement sends a message that we are uninterested in facilitating innovation and competition in financial markets and instead seek to protect incumbents. Like, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like just to make a relative analogy, there were a lot of people barking at Google and other such platforms like Google about 10 years ago, from the EU saying, hey, you guys are doing unfair practices. We can't compete. And so the EU kind of tried to wrangle Google in by saying, you're doing things that are unfair to our people in the EU. And Google's like, you guys can use whatever platform you want. We don't charge you for anything. Yes, we're the most popular platform, but that doesn't mean we're making anybody use us. Go use something
Mhm.
else. Use DuckDuckGo. If you don't like Google, use that. There's no mandate to use Google at all. Yes, a lot of people use it, but there's no mandate. So if you don't like it, the fact that the people in your European Union don't like it are basically telling the governing body to curtail Google's functionality is unfair practice. The same thing goes here. If the incumbents don't like it, change your rules. Compete. Oh, you can't? Not our fault. So I honestly think it feels at least by the way that Hester is presenting this, that Gary is kind of being forced to play the cop or the regulator to this system because all the incumbents are pissed that they can't compete or that they don't know how to compete. It's not that they can't.
Not until CBDC comes out, then they can compete all they want.
Well, sort of, but yeah. I mean,
Last news.
crypto will still exist. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Goblin Town creator trashes NFT artwork, disables trading in royalty stand. What? What's going on here? Let's see. Truth Labs, the creator of Goblin Town Ethereum NFT collection, went viral as NFT market slumped last year, has been accused of rugging holders this week by changing all the project's artwork into animated GIFs of a middle finger holding up three additional middle fingers. F royalties, F supporting building and creatives. Flipping is the heart of what makes Web3 special. Honor the flipper, F the community. Long live the slow rug. All 10,000 of the animated NFTs now read.
Yes, they've all been changed, and that kind of pissed off the people who bought the NFTs.
That's what they are right there, man. That's the reason why you don't want to use smart contract NFTs.
Exactly,
There's
because they
other
have control.
platforms out there like Raven. That's what makes Ravencoins pretty special.
Yep.
That's burned on to the token itself. Bitcoin ordinals, the same thing. Just make sure that when you're doing Bitcoin ordinals, that it's the actual what you're getting. You're getting the actual ordinal burnt onto the blockchain, not something that's an HTML.
Right.
HTML
Right.
file, because that HTML file can be changed on the back end.
Exactly.
Pay attention to the code, right? Code
Yep.
is law.
Yep. But in general, yeah, the whole thing here is that the guy that created the Goblin Town Ethereum NFT collection is pissed that Truth Labs is trying to block flippers. That is flipping NFTs, on and off. And if the royalty charge is relatively low, like it is on OpenSea, which is like I think 0.5% minimum. Truth Labs is trying to set 5% so that they can keep flippers from screwing what they consider screwing the platforms. So a lot of platforms have gone toward the lower creator fees, and Truth Labs thinks that higher creator fees will keep people from doing the very thing that the Goblin Town creator really wanted. So
Truth Labs said it will automatically airdrop a new version of each affected NFT with
Right.
original artwork to holder wallets by the end of the day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's not a big deal. It's newsworthy. Only so you guys can be aware that any smart contract that has obviously like HTML, each smart contract, you can change that data on the back end, right? Pay attention to that stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good article to understand what's going on there.
Yeah, it's helpful to show exactly what's really happening here. But yeah, they're basically trying to raise the, because this is also a creator thing. Like Beeple, one of the most famous NFT creators of all time, and also one of the wealthiest. Every single time somebody sells one of his pieces of artwork on the secondary market, he gets a cut. This is one thing that artists in the past never got. Once it's sold by the auction house to whomever gets the piece of artwork, it's done. You won't see any more of that unless you had some contract with that person. And that's unlikely to happen because that person could own it for decades. You might be dead before that happens again. The ease of trade with an NFT functionality makes it so that people can trade it quickly, especially if they want to get rid of it or mark it as something to pull value against, like to put up a loan against. But if you do any of those transactions, the original creator still gets a fee, which is good for the creator. It kind of encourages, art on NFT format. So, I'm thrilled about this idea. I just wish it wasn't so harsh. I can kind of see why this, because Goblin Town is kind of a harsh thing, anyways. It was kind of an FU kind of style NFT collection in the first place, so it's kind of not weird that they would do this.
It's better than bananas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's all we got for today. Thank you all for listening and or watching. Please check out Blockchain Expo. We'll put a link in the description below. And of course, if you would like to contribute to us, we would appreciate that. You can check it out, and you can donate to us in various ways through coins. You can also check out our various social media and interactivity, things like Discord. You can check out all the extra interviews that we did on Patreon. You can see John live on Twitch like he's streaming right now. Of course, you can see that stuff later too. Check us out on Odyssey if you like. It's all ad free, which is awesome, and of course it's supporting blockchain based media. Thanks for your thumbs up on YouTube and liking us on Twitter. As we say at the end of every episode,
Hit that subscribe button.
subscribe button. Stack sats and hodl.
And huddle.
Adios.
Adios.